What's up, guys? It's Simon. So today we're going to be talking about Earth Magic. The day attributed for it is Thursday, and Jupiter is its planet. This is where you'll be working with plants and trees, grass, stones, crystals, roots, leaves, all of that. You're also going to be doing lots of financial magic, money magic, prosperity, and abundance. You could also do a lot with your home. So that could be and bringing about stability to home or doing stability in general. Anything having to do with keeping your house protected, stuff like that. This is a good time to do earthing or that grounding and centering. Hopefully you've seen that video already. It's really good for prosperity. Oh, I already said that, excuse me. Strength. A lot of people think that fire is where you get your strength, but it's actually the earth. Think of the roots. Think of stones. Even, fire can get extinguished like that. They confuse destruction with strength, but the fire can be extinguished with the water. It can be extinguished with the wind. It can get smothered by the earth. It's not as strong as people like to think it is. So, this is also a good time to do foundational workings. So things like starting your family, or I don't know, you want to go on a journey of getting a home, or starting a business. That's a really good one. This is also good for business workings, for shielding. The way that this is good for shielding is because it's more of a passive protection, or your defensive protection, whereas the fire would be your active or offensive protection. So think of it this way: fire is like your soldier, your warrior fighting for you, and earth is kind of like your bodyguard. There's a few ways you can do that. You can think of being envisioned in the roots of a tree, so that way you're under the ground and they can't find you, and you're protected from anything that's under the ground. Or you're in the limbs of a tree, so that way anything that's on the ground can't get you, and anything that's in the sky can't get to you either because of the leaves and the limbs. This is where you'll find a lot of the gnomes, trolls, elves, brownies, Lord Gob, Uriel, and all of those earth spirits. Now, brownies are the house helpers, guardians, the house fae. So if you haven't worked or found your brownie yet, just try putting out honey, and you can do honey and milk, or honey and goddess water. I mean, full moon water. This is good for your growth. So like personal development, spiritual development, stuff of that nature. Guidance. If you want any guidance, go to the earth. Try seeking out a viney plant. For example, ivy, morning glories, honeysuckle. I'm trying to think what else. What's it called? I think it's called angel's trumpet. Those trumpet orangey red flowers. This is also good to learn about acceptance. The earth is very accepting. It's been accepting of what it's done. It's always evolving and adapting. So again, you kind of have that correlation to growth. This is good for perseverance. Think of the roots. Excuse me. The roots never stop growing. Never. And even if man tries to stop it, like with concrete roads and stuff like that, sometimes the roots will make the road buckle, or it'll crack the road, and then grass will start growing. The earth never stops changing and growing, so you can learn a lot of perseverance from them. You can also learn patience. Try planting a seed, specifically like an oak, or any type of tree, because I think it takes about 2 years before anything sprouts, or at least before something blossoms. This is also good to get information on your identity and individuality. You know, think of all the diverse plants in nature, all the diverse creatures in nature. This is good to do banishments, actually. Bury your bad habits into the earth, any of your woes, your burdens. Again, think about, in this case, you could probably plant a weeping willow. And again, having that tree and putting all that negativity in the seed, and the earth will transmute it into neutral energy. And then when you're watering it and taking care of it, you're feeding it positive energy. So then you have this positive, flourishing willow tree that's gonna be there for you every time you're upset. Um, this is good to do any cauldron, pentacle creations, or consecrations, depending on how you view your cauldron. The pentacle is basically your altar die or your altar disc, depending on how big it is. This is also good for shape shifting. Now, you can't do it on the physical plane, but you can do it on the astral plane. You can also do it emotionally and psychologically. And I really encourage you to do that. It's really, really, really awesome. This is also the time of winter, and the time to be silent, and the time of midnight. Now, what I forgot to mention the other two is that water is to dare, and air is to know. And spirit is to go, because I'm not going to do a spirit one, and I'll just say the last one, fire is to will. So now we're going to go into the 13 herbs that I feel every witch should have as your basic collection of herbs before you start buying mugwort or a star anise or any of these fancy herbs. Just start working with these 13 first. So the first one is orange peel. This is good to revitalize yourself. If you're depressed or mopey or tired or lethargic or anything like that, you're struggling with motivation, this is also good to work with that. It's also representative of the sun and divine masculine god energy in itself. This is also a good happy herb. Come on, Shay. Ooh. There we go. Oh, don't fall, don't fall. This is a good happy herb. Oh, hi. Okay, so, I can't see. It's also good for mental health. Again, with that anti-depression and anti-anxiety, excuse me. This is good for success. And bringing about that joy, again, with the happy. This is good for socializing. Don't get down, baby, come on. Ow, 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 ow. This is good for socializing and friendship. And I can't see. Okay. Okay. So this is also good for perception. I'm still talking about orange peel, by the way. The reason why it's good for perception is that it's representative of the sun, and the sun sheds light on the shadows and on darkness, and brings light to the world and scares darkness away. So this is good for giving you clarity and a new perception on maybe a not so great situation. The next one is going to be lemon peel. So this is good for cleansings, the moon energy and goddess energy. Again, friendships and socializing, banishings, and invisibility. So the way it works with invisibility is that there's two ways you can do it. You can use it as invisible ink to do sigils on walls and windows, or you can use it to make your aura and your energy invisible, especially to your enemies. I really hope you checked out the air video, because there, when I was talking about the feather colors, there was one that was good for invisibility to your enemy. Okay, so now that the cat stopped and the dog stopped, let's continue. So like I said, with that invisibility, it's good for the sigil work, and it's good for making your aura invisible to enemies, like that feather I talked about in the air. So, the next one I want to talk about is bay leaf. This is good for divination, quick spell works, sigil magic. You write it on there and burn it or bury it. You could also use it for your petitions and wishes, love, protection, and anything to do with the law and justice and truth. Again, that's kind of related to divination because that's usually what you're doing. You're trying to seek truth in a situation or information, and honest information, obviously. One thing that I haven't heard is people using it for music and song. I find that to be very useful, especially since it's related to the god Apollo, who is of music. The next one I wanted to talk about was basil, which is good for wealth and prosperity, flying, and protection whilst flying as well. And also, this is good for spirit guides and money. So it's good if you want to try and find your spirit guides, because you can go to the astral plane because it helps you with flying as well. The next one I wanted to talk about is cinnamon. This is good for love and success and lust and fertility and potency and speed. So if you want to speed up a spell, use some cinnamon. If you want to put some potency on the spell while still like keeping a love energy or positive energy, use some cinnamon. Um, with fertility, I really wanted to touch on this. It doesn't necessarily have to be with sex or with baby making or anything like that. It can actually be towards your garden, making it fertile to plant, maybe a business proposal, or I don't know, maybe you want uh, a fertile brain where you can get tons of ideas blossoming in it. The ideas are limitless. Next one I want to talk about is chili pepper. Now this is kind of similar to cinnamon, but you'll understand why I mentioned it in a minute because there are some differences and benefits that you can get from this that you can't necessarily get from cinnamon. It's good for passion. A lot of people like to say love or lust, but I don't know. For me, I've always found it's beyond that. It's just raw energy of passion. So that can, and like with chili pepper, passion can go both ways. It can go into obsession, into okay. So like I was saying, chili pepper is has that passion, which can go both ways. It can go into obsession and or even like hatred and anger, or it can go into romance and sexual intercourse and all of that. It's also good for fierce or that warrior energy when you want to bring about some courage. Use some chili pepper to really like spike up your energy and spruce it up and give you that courage to deal with that really difficult situation. It's also, again, really good for speed and potency. Um, so if you are in a rush to get something done, use some chili pepper. Maybe make a powder and sprinkle it around a candle, like hot foot powder. A lot of people think that hot foot powder is only used for, your enemies and stuff like that, but it can actually be used just in speeding up a spell. And there's a bunch of other uses for it too. Hexing and cursing. This is the attribute that is different. Now, maybe you don't wish to do any of that, so you could omit this from your cabinet. But it's really good for hexing and cursing. Now, I personally don't do malevolent hexes and curses, and I know that may sound a little confusing, but I actually will do a stipulation curse or hex, or I will do one that involves invoking their karma. So basically, I kind of just send an email to divinity, so to speak, saying that so and so did this, and they really need some karma now, to really kick them in the ass and get them to learn their lesson. So rather than it getting addressed later on or whatever, I kind of just hurry up or put a rush on their karma, and then they will get punished or whatever because of their deed that they did. Now, I never put a specific, I don't usually, unless I'm guided, which is very rare. I think it's only happened once or twice. I don't usually put a specific outcome. I let divinity do that because divinity knows their situation best. The next one I want to talk about is corn. Again, that's not a very common talked about herb. Corn is, again, good for fertility and abundance, prosperity, money, and home and hearth. So, you could use it in regards to all those other attributes I mentioned, or anything having to do with the home or hearth. Again, you could use corn in regards to maybe you need to save up money for a house. So you can plant some corn, and as it grows, so will your money. I don't know. The ideas are endless. Use your imagination. That's the great thing about magic, is that you just use your imagination and spiritual guidance and magical guidance, and anything can happen. Anything can happen if you just believe. I haven't said that in years. I need to get back to saying that. Oatmeal is my next one, and that shit is fucking cheap. If you can't afford oatmeal, then you must be homeless, and you shouldn't be watching this. You should be buying oatmeal and doing spell work. Just kidding. Well, not really, but kind of. So oatmeal is really good for wellness, and again, the health and wealth and the prosperity and abundance. But I also like to use it for heirloom magic. So, if maybe heirloom's been lost in your family, and you want to try and find it or have it find its way back to you, use some oatmeal. Or if you have an heirloom that you want to use for a magical purpose, like in my family, this when I get it, it will be a third generation passed down object. It's a old bread box. I think it's about 100 or more years old, and it's massive. It's, I think, 3 or 4 feet wide and maybe 2 or 3. I think it's 3 by 4 feet and maybe like 2 feet high. It's big, and that we're right now we're using it as a coffee table, which is the second time that it's been used by as a coffee table. The first time was when my mom was a child. Her mother, my grandmother, used it as a coffee table, and now we're using it as that. And when I get it, I plan on using it as a coffee table as well, and specifically as when I have my family, I plan on using it as like the family altar. So that way, when I want to do magics for my family, or I'm teaching my children or whatever, we can go to the family altar and do our spell work. The next one I want to talk about is garlic and or onion. So again, this could be like 13 or 14 depending on how you use it. If you're, I don't know if anyone could be allergic to this, but if you are, or you can't handle the smell of garlic, then you can use onion. But I'm gonna be talking as if you're only getting the garlic. And the reason why is because garlic is much stronger, at least in my practice, than onion, so I prefer to use it rather than onion. So it's great for protection, again, banishing health, hexes and curses, cleansing, and I also like to use it for exorcisms. And the reason why is because it absorbs, so it takes in the negativity. And in this case, it could be taking the demon or what have you. Whatever malevolent energy you're extracting from the human. The human. I'm an alien. We need to extract it from the human. Anyway, so take out that negativity and put it in the onion. And because the onion is well, I don't believe that it's a living object. The entity will not be able to survive, and also because of the potency of the onion, of the garlic, it will, oh crap, just lost my train of thought. The potency of the garlic will, snuff out the energy. It won't kill it because energy can't be created or destroyed, but you know what I mean. So eggshells are good, again, for protection and fertility, and cleansing, and blessings and banishments. Um, it's also good for pregnancy and children, and for the home. I actually will use it when I'm doing any house magic, so that means cleansings and blessings. So as I was saying, cleanse out the egg and let it dry, and if your wife is pregnant, or if you are pregnant, or an aunt or mom or whoever, friend, then you can fill it up with herbs, write a petition and fill it up in there, and try and seal it off with wax or whatever, and or even coconut oil, which is good because that has that love and protection energy. And but I would suggest using wax because it's a little easier. Um, and basically keep it on your altar or in a spell box. That's probably best, so that way it's undisturbed. And keep it in there the whole 9 months or however long she carries the child. And then once the baby comes home, put it under the crib until their first birthday. Then, dispose of it as you see fit. I would probably put it in, I would bury it. I don't suggest putting it in fire because I kind of feel that would be a little too harsh, but that's just my opinion. You could also just, I know a lot of the times the Lady Grave Dancer would smash her eggs. I only smash my eggs for the house cleansings and blessings. But for the baby blessing and protection, all that, I would just bury it. Uh, Salt is really good for purification and protection and blessing, and you guys know, you guys work with salt. Rosemary. If you're gonna get only one herb, I suggest you get all of these, but if you can only get one for the time being, get rosemary because it's a great all-purpose herb. It's great for maintaining your youth or having a youthful energy. Uh, Working with the eyes, you can make a little dropper tincture thing. I think you have to use like distilled water and rosemary, and it'll help like with your clarity of vision. I don't remember like all the medicinal part of it, so definitely check it out before you do that. So I'm suggesting these in regards to spell work only. If I throw anything that's good for health or whatever, please go check it out, both with your doctor and online. It's also good for the mind and memory, protection, cleansing, purification, consecration, blessing, banishing, hexing, and cursing, and also flying. And the reason why I said rosemary is because it's really cheap, and I don't know about you, but it's easy to grow, and Walmart has fresh rosemary, both in the pot and already cut. And what you can do is you can take a sprig, and you can burn it on a coal disc or whatever. I don't know if you can burn it as a smudge one because I don't know. I don't know if it would get to the stem well, but you could try that. Oh, if side note, I might have said this before, I don't remember, but if you're trying to burn cinnamon, uh, hold on, let me show you. Get the sweet cinnamon if you can. Oof. Sweet cinnamon kind of looks like this. It has all those flaky layers in it. It smells really, really good. Almost smelled like apple cider. Anyway, sweet cinnamon is really easy to work with. You can't burn the cinnamon cassia, which is that dark brick red color. This is more of like a, I don't know, like a light orange brown. It's much easier to work with. I actually use that one for my Yule log, which I'll probably be doing. I think I'm going to do it in the next 2 days for your Yulemas. So, last one is dirt. This is great for just Earth representation in general, for Mother Earth, for bringing about stability, energy, home, abundance, prosperity, fertility. Yeah. And then take into account where you collect the dirt. I believe I've done a dirt magic video, so if I haven't, I can find it out. And if I remember, I'll link it in the description box below. So, this is, I think, my third or fourth time filming this video. I'm so glad I finally got through it. Not without multiple stops, though. So there's going to be lots of editing going on here. I hope you enjoyed these videos. There's the fire one coming up tomorrow, and then that will be it for the elemental series for Yulemas. What are we on? Day 5, I think? I think that's what today is. Day 5. Yes. Oh, what's day 6? It's day 6? Ooh. Oh, that's right. Yesterday was 5. But that's part of the problem. I don't know what day it is. But anyway, I hope that these inspired you and explore the magical world. It's amazing. Thank you for watching. As always, blessed be my dear witchlings.